Hello and welcome to this episode of the Feel Freaking Amazing podcast. We have another awesome guest today, Dr. Nayan Patel. He is a pharmacist, wellness expert, thought leader in his industry, and he's been working since 1999 to develop custom medications and design patient-specific regimens. After 11 years of clinical research on glutathione, he and his team have developed a patented technology to deliver glutathione topically. We're going to talk about it. And it's changed the game on how to best absorb glutathione systemically. And he recently published The Glutathione Revolution, Fight Disease, Slow Aging, and Increase Energy. So, Nayan, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure because we've talked, you come to a lot of the top conferences and we always learn a lot from you and about you. So it's really interesting. And since your main topic is glutathione, what is glutathione?
No, wait, how did you even get into it?
Oh, that's true. Let's go there first.
Study glutathione, and then spend 11 years studying glutathione. Why?
Well, it's not just the 11 years on studying glutathione and then another 10 more years to researching before I launched the product to the public. So that it's a long process. It is a long process. And it started very early on. After I graduated from pharmacy school, when you're young and stupid, you think you can change the world, right? You think you can change the world, and I was set to change the world. I said, hey, I have all this knowledge. I'm going to help people with medications, and I'm going to heal people. And oh my God, a very hard reality. As soon as you graduate, the real world kicks you in the butt and tells you that no, you're not here to solve any problem. Your job is to manage people's problems. And that to me was a very hardcore reality, is medications are only here to manage people's problems. They're not here to solve any problems. And so when I first found that out, I said, oh my gosh, we're not here to do anything different than what everybody else is doing. So how can I be so different? And so I started doing custom compounding because that's the only outlet I had at that time in my licensure that I have. I said I can do some customized medications and see if I can help some people achieve a little bit better outcomes than what I was offering with the commercial medications. And the clientele were asking me, well, I got a ton of money, but my health is not good. I want to do something better. I want to live longer. I want to have a better health span. And when you start looking at those kinds of things, of course, they're looking at nutraceuticals and vitamins. And one thing that stuck out to me the most was glutathione, because it was this molecule that can affect each and every disease state that we have known to mankind that can have a positive impact on those conditions. But 140 years that we have known about glutathione, nobody has figured out how to get inside your body. The studies being done saying that, hey, the levels of glutathione are increasing, but I have never seen a level increase to the level that is high normal, which my patients needed at that time. And so I was making intravenous glutathione, and the research showed that it only stays in the body for about 5 to 15 minutes. I said, oh, this is not good. So that was my main aha moment. Say, you know what? I want to do this thing. Of course, back of my mind, say, you know what? If I can do this thing, figure this portion out, it's like growing hair in a bald person. You'd be a billionaire, right? I said, well, there's a financial incentive as well behind this project. But at the same time, I was also trying to figure out how can I do something meaningful in my life.
I remember when I was an OBGYN and people would say to me, like, when am I going to go into labor? And I'd be like, if I knew that, I wouldn't be taking call. Right? If I could predict that. So I get it. To solve problems is an amazing thing. So, okay. So now we can talk about what is glutathione.
Okay. What is glutathione?
If you asked me this question 25 years ago when I first started, nobody knew what the word peptide was. But today, people know about what is peptides. Peptides are small amino acid chains that are building blocks in the body. Glutathione is one of the smallest amino acid chain, which is three amino acids coming together, the small peptide. But really, people don't want to know what that is. People really want to know is that, well, why are we talking about it? And the reason we talk about this thing is because it is the most abundant peptide produced in human body. I know you cannot stay without water and air, breathing. But the third thing that's most important in your body is glutathione, is what I feel like it. And so it is something that everybody should know about it, because what it does as of right now, we know two things. One is a master antioxidant. It quenches all the free radicals, which is you're exposed to the free radicals every single day in your life if you're breathing oxygen. But you also create free radicals because of chemical reactions happening in your body all the time. So that's one thing that we know of. That's what most people know about glutathione, is it's an antioxidant. The second component, it is a master conjugator. It helps clear your liver with all the metabolites and toxic chemicals that your body accumulates, and you have to get rid of it. And so glutathione aids in the process of helping you get rid of those chemicals. And so those are the two things that we have known for. And the reason we only know two things as of right now is because until today, we never had the technology to deliver glutathione inside your body at a highest level. So we never did it for the studies in that. So over the last 4 or 5 years, I would say the number of inquiries on further clinical trials have just skyrocketed in my industry. So for me, this has been a game changer, because now people are coming out of the woodworks asking me, say, hey, can you be part of a study to help us learn more about glutathione?
Very cool.
So so it's important, it's everywhere, and I'm assuming that the lack of it causes problems. How would people know that they have low glutathione?
So our brain is wired to finding out, what am I looking for to know that I have a problem, right? And so I want to go back to one other thing before that I answer that question. Your body, every single day, we are putting unknown objects inside our mouth in terms of food. The body has to process it. And we don't even know how many chemicals we just ingested today, or you put some makeup on, or you put some skincare or hair care products, and so on and so forth, the laundry detergent in your clothing, everything. Your body is processing all those chemicals. And during this process time, the body is constantly adjusting to the unknown chemicals that are coming inside your body. It's constantly adjusting. And when the adjustment period is over, the body says, I cannot deal with it anymore. It starts giving you some symptoms. And maybe not symptoms, but maybe some abnormal markers on your blood test or your saliva test or urine test. And when they go unnoticed, or they go out of range for long periods of time, it starts developing some symptoms, and eventually leads to diseases. Well, to me, looking for signs and symptoms is like a lagging indicator. I will know way before what happened that lead to this problem in the first place. But again, we don't have the insights on how the body's adjusting, because the body does it on its own. And so for the glutathione, it is so important that I don't want people to wait until they get symptomatic. So the symptoms are associated with, if you think about oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is linked to literally every disease known to mankind. So if you think about it, top 10 causes of death in the world. One of them is accidents. Let's take that out of the picture. The other 9 are all linked to oxidative stress: cancers, metabolic disorders, autoimmune conditions, heart disease, and so on and so forth. So if they're all linked to oxidative stress, and we need antioxidants to do that part, the body only produces one molecule to do that for us, which is glutathione. And so, let's not wait until the disease state. So before the disease state, you have some symptoms, right? Starting the age of 30s, you get some creepy forgetfulness. You have lack of energy, or what we call fatigue, or sleep disturbances. And of course, you're going to blame the environmental factors that, hey, I just got a new job, I just got married, I have a new mortgage on my house, and there's a lot of stress in my life, and that's what's causing these issues. But in reality is that the body is trying to adjust, and is not able to adjust anymore. Right? And so I want to make sure that every small signs and symptoms that people are getting is people need to think about it and say, hey, why is my body not adjusting fast enough, and what am I supposed to do with it? So are there any particular signs and symptoms? The answer is no. And by the time you find out that you have low glutathione levels, is the onset of some sort of diseases. And so I want people to start early, or not wait until the disease kicks in.
Well, is there an age at which glutathione starts to go down, or what are the factors that would influence glutathione not being in its productive state? Is it over demand? Is it underproduction and over demand, or where does the difficulty lie?
I think the body has the capabilities of producing of glutathione. I don't think that there's an issue about bodies losing this ability to produce glutathione at the early on. I'm talking about under the age of 40. After 40, yes, you may. People say that by the age 30, you start losing the ability to produce glutathione, and that may be true in some cases. But if you're otherwise healthy, by the age of 40, yes, you do start losing some ability to produce enough glutathione. Keep in mind, you need three things to produce glutathione: the amino acids, which is the building blocks, the two enzymes to conjugate those the three amino acids, and ATP, energy source for mitochondria for the chemical reactions to happen. So if any of those substances is not abundantly available to the human body, we'll have a reduced in production. So if there's not enough ATP, which is the people call the mitochondrial aging, if there's not enough mitochondria, then yes, your ATP level drops and the ability to produce glutathione also drops at the same time. Enzymes, I think they're enough in your body, so that's not usually a concern. But there may be another gene SNPs that's out there that I have not studied yet, and that could be one of the cause of reducing the enzymes in your body. That could be a really limiting step as well. And the amino acids, if you have a proper diet, there's plenty of those things. But you're right. The demand never drops. The demand.
It's getting worse. Nayan, think about it. Like
it's
there's chemicals everywhere, like you alluded to. There's then food stressors, emotional stressors, mental stressors, time stressors, lifestyle stressors,
just age itself,
aging.
aging itself.
and our constant exposure to even the radiation outside and all the
Mold, metals.
Well, the thing is, if you think about it, animals don't destroy the planet. Right? Humans, we want to create and build because we have this higher intellectual capacity that we want to create things. And I mean, we are great at creating great things in this planet on this planet, but it is coming at a cost, right? And if you think that things are going to get better, they are not. They're not going to get better. You're not going to be able to avoid this anymore, right? It doesn't matter what part of the world you live in at this time. And so that's not going away. So let's be real about this. I say it's there. You can try to avoid as much as possible, but you're not able to go zero. We are.
All right. I want to go back to something.
Well, I mean, we can do your question, but my question is really, why glutathione? Like, why not vitamin C? Linus Pauling did all this work on vitamin C. I know we don't produce it, but if we take it in, it's an antioxidant or any of the other antioxidants. Why is glutathione so much better, or is it better?
Okay, so absolutely. So this is something that I like answering this question because this is a big aha moment that I received in my life as well. So vitamin C is actually not an antioxidant at all. Chemically, it's a pro-oxidant. Okay. At low concentrations of vitamin C, ascorbic acid, what it does, it provides energy to oxidize glutathione in your body and get them reduced again. And so.
Wait, can you dummy that down for someone like me? You're scientific. I'm not scientific at all. Can you dummy that down and speak that in
Okay. So
layman's English?
So glutathione it's in an active form inside your body, which is called GSH molecule. It's an active form. What it does, it takes away the free radicals, quenches all the free radicals, energy from there, and in that process gets oxidized, becomes GS molecule, the H goes away. The two GS molecules comes together and make a stable component in your body called GSSG, which is an oxidized form of glutathione. It's inert, has no properties, doesn't do much in your body other than it just tells you that, hey, I'm just staying stable inside your body until something comes up, and I can revive this and make into two molecules of glutathione again. That energy source comes from either short exposure to sunlight or products like vitamin C, CoQ10, vitamin E, and things like that. That provides the energy to revive glutathione back into an active form. So chemically, vitamin C is actually a pro-oxidant, not an antioxidant, and it provides the energy to glutathione and to make it active again. So at low concentrations of vitamin C, it acts as if it's an antioxidant because it revives the glutathione, and at high concentration of vitamin C, it becomes a pro-oxidant. Okay, so that's that. So I mean, the doctors knows about this all the time. They say, hey, yeah, at low concentrated vitamin C is an antioxidant, and high concentrated becomes a pro-oxidant. That's what we use for cancer therapies and chemo therapies and things like that. But in reality, chemically, it's the same product, no matter where it goes. At okay. So let's talk about the vitamin C product. Yes, and I have nothing wrong with Linus Pauling, amazing work. But our body has three things that we do to reduce oxidative stress down. One is glutathione that the body produces. Two is you take the chemicals from outside sources like vitamin C, vitamin E, CoQ10, resveratrols or C60s and methylene blues, and there's so much antioxidants that's out there that people claim that they are. So that I call that as bucket number two. Bucket number one is glutathione. Bucket number two is outside sources, products that we take. The bucket number three is your body produces enzymes like glutathione peroxidase. SOD, which is superoxide dismutase, or catalase. These are the enzymes that the body produces to help glutathione in the process of quenching free radicals. So that's bucket number three. If you combine bucket number three and bucket number two, which is the outside chemicals and the enzymes, glutathione is stronger than those two buckets combined. And so that's why when I first learned that part, that's when I said, oh my God, it doesn't pay me anything to work on those molecules that doesn't do much for my body. I want to work on the master molecule that can have a profound impact on human lives. That was one of the reasons why glutathione was something that I really worked on it. When I was hired in 1999, this is the real story, right? In 1999, when a doctor came to me and said, hey, can you make me some liposome nutraceutical products? At that time, liposome was not something new, something very new, something not heard in the nutraceutical world. That's 25 years ago. And he comes to me and said, hey, I have this patent on liposome technology. I'm making some pharmaceutical drugs with it already, but I want to introduce nutraceuticals and it make me a vitamin C. And so we did. It was cost prohibitive, but I think 3 or 4 years later, somebody came up with liquid things to drink in your drink with liposomes. But in the background, I asked him, I said, why not glutathione? He goes, it's too hard to work with. Plus, it smells pretty bad and it tastes pretty awful. So no, don't work on that one. Just work on the vitamin C. Of course, in the back of my mind, thank you. I said, I'll work on the glutathione on my own. I don't need your help anymore. So that's where the whole process started with the liposome technology was the first one. And it did not work on my patients. It did not work. And that triggered the whole research for me. Anyways, we're going off the tangent right now. But those three, if you look at those three things, that's why even though vitamin C is used abundantly in the world, it won't even come close to antioxidant benefits like glutathione will do for us.
So the question I have is, it doesn't sound like the body can make too little. The issues arise when you have too much exposure. But yes. Could you ever have too much glutathione in the system? Are there any clinical issues with having too much?
Yes. And the thing is, until today, if you think about what FDA has done, FDA has designated glutathione as a GRAS product, GRAS, generally regarded as safe. It's a GRAS status, so you can take any amount you want. You can take 50 grams of glutathione, nothing happens to you, right? So that's what the GRAS status comes in. Unfortunately, fortunately, all the products in the world as of today, i.e. intravenous forms, liposome technology products, capsules, all those different technology products, the body doesn't absorb any one of them anyways. The body breaks it down and it produces endogenously glutathione. So until today, we never had an issue of overdosing anybody on glutathione. Now that we have a technology that I can actually bypass all the barriers and introduce straight to the cell, there's a potential of getting it overdosed. And so that's why when I said that first 11 years of my research was just getting the glutathione ready and then another 10 years to launch the product, because whenever the product was ready, I can launch it because I started seeing some reactions in patients with going overboard. Like when you go overboard, like when you go from oxidative stress to reductive stress, it's a whole different paradigm shift for the human body, and body becomes lazy, and infections kicks in, and all kinds of problems could happen because of that. And so when I saw that for the very first time in my patient population, we stopped the whole project immediately. And then we went into studies on trying to figure out. So yes, now that we have a technology, we can push people over the edge. And when we push people over the edge, they can start experiencing effects like excessive rashes, itching all over the body. What else I have seen? Extreme fatigue, headaches, things like that. It's even though it's temporarily, it could happen, that part. If that happens to you, you got to come back.
So do you remember we had a patient like 7 or 8 years ago who had profound liver dysfunction, and I had given her, I think it was a gram of IV glutathione, and on the car ride home, she developed a rash and itching. She had a detox reaction is what I thought of it as. So when you're talking about too much glutathione, is it essentially that people are having a profound detox reaction, or is it harming the system? I'm just trying to understand.
And also, is there an internal downregulation if you're getting it externally?
Okay, so that's 2 questions. Okay,
Wait, that's a third question.
I know, but I'm getting it in because you're.
I know, because I'm like, oh my
okay.
God.
So yes, it could happen both ways, right? The symptoms are identical if you have too much of glutathione or if the body's detoxing too fast, right? So what you experienced with the 1 gram of IV push, it was a major detox reaction, and it usually happens like about half an hour to an hour later, right? And the reason is because guess what? The study was done in 1991. When you give IV push of glutathione, the body clears the glutathione in about 5 to 15 minutes. It's already in the urine, everything. But then what happened was they saw an increase of cysteine in the blood half an hour to an hour or hour and a half later. The cysteine went up, and when the cysteine went up, the glutathione levels in the body went up as well. So cysteine was actually being used to produce your own glutathione. And when that happened, that's when you saw the reaction happening for the rashes and headaches and things like that. With the topical version that we have, the reaction is pretty fast. I mean, you get the rashes in 15 minutes or so. And so if that happens, that means the body's detoxing too fast. You just have to cut back on the dose a little bit, and that should be okay. Now, if you don't do anything, and let's say if the patient have no symptoms, and if they are good, okay, for about a year, and then you increase the dose on them, and if the dose has gone to a too high of a dose and it goes overboard, the same symptoms come back again. The headaches, the nausea, the diarrhea, the itching, extreme fatigue. That's when you know that you have gone overboard. That's too much of glutathione. You got to come back on it. So if the same symptoms, if it happens earlier, which is the first month or so, then it's a detox reaction. If it happens 6 months afterwards, that's too much of glutathione. And so I just want to make sure people understand that part.
Yeah. And I have a follow-up question before we get to your question. I don't want to minimize it, but I just, if we're looking at patients who I would consider to be super toxic, I mean, the patient I'm referring to had alcoholism, and her GGT was off the charts. I think her GGT was like 265.
Okay.
So ridiculous. And we're aiming for it to be under 20. You know,
that's not our typical patient.
And she was very atypical. I mean, she was, so are there patients who, when we're looking at adding in glutathione for detox, we want to tread lighter with? And are there some metrics that we can go, okay, if your GGT is between 60 and 100, or over 60 or whatever it is there any type of metric that we can put on this to understand who's at risk of having a detox reaction, and who do we warn, like, hey, you might have a detox reaction because your system's pretty shut down? Just
this is a tough question, because I deal with all kinds of people with mold issues and alcoholic fatty liver issues and liver cirrhosis patients that have chemical sensitivities that they can't do anything. They can't even smell something and not have a reaction from it. And unfortunately, I have not come across a common link where it tells me that this person is going to respond favorably, that they can take the full dose and no problem. And some people cannot take even 1 spray twice a day. And so it's very hard for me to understand that portion yet as of right now. And I'm relying on the physicians like you to basically tell me some stories and say, hey, these are some of the cases I have. So I'm collecting data at this time, and I could not figure out a commonality at this point. So I'll just tell you, I have patients that are completely healthy They have taken 4 sprays and knocked out for 2 days in a row. They can't get out of the bed. Completely healthy otherwise. And they can get out of the bed. And I have people that are absolutely sensitive. They can't even smell something. It's completely toxic. And they can take a full dose and feel fantastic the first day. And so I could not figure that portion out yet. So what I tell people is that, hey, the first day or two, please forgive me. If you get a reaction, I'm sorry. I don't want to shortchange your therapy. I don't want to reduce the time of how much I can make you feel better as fast as possible. So the first time you start the products, if you get a reaction, stop it, let everything settle down, go back to half the dose or even 1/4 the dose only, and then slowly ramp it up again over every 7 days. You increase the dose every 7 days until you get to 4 sprays, which is about 100 milligrams twice a day. That should be the clue that they should be feeling fine. But most people, when they do this way, within 2 weeks after they reach the full dose, they feel absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, yeah, I don't know the answer to that one yet. So I cannot tell you, but I just have to be trial and error at this time. Your
How
question.
about the downregulation question?
Yours.
Yes.
Let's go to Ed.
So the thing is, when you think about down regulations and upper regulations, we're talking about endocrine system, because that's what we are. My brain is wired as, hey, if I take anything from outside sources, my body's going to shut down its own production, which is not a good thing if you're dealing with pituitary hormone, hypothalamic hormones, gonadal hormones, things like that. But when it comes to peptides and proteins, it's a whole different ball game, because there's no stimulus in your body that's telling your body to produce more glutathione. And it's based on what your needs are going to be. And if the needs are met, the body doesn't have to produce anymore. The body needs the enzymes, the amino acids, and the ATP to produce all this product. So my guess is that, and we just done one human trial with this one, is when you give glutathione, the body will basically don't have to produce anymore, right? And so that was my first study that I did. I was like, I need to figure out how much to give you, because when I got the reactions happening to the patients, because I was giving them 500 to 600 milligrams twice a day or 3 times a day, and when I got to give them that high doses, people were having all kinds of reaction. So one of the doctors in Utah I was working with, he said that, you know what, Nayan, don't worry about it. Let me help you with this one. He took a bunch of patients and started giving them some glutathione to try to do this blood draw. What we found out was 100 milligrams was probably going to be more than enough to reach high normal levels. I said, oh my God, why do we have to give anything more than that? But what we also found out that the minimum dose required to reach the high normal level is 50. At 50, you're basically just giving you what your body's already making. And so based on that theory, what we found out was we also gave 25 milligrams and the levels actually dropped. So we're assuming that the body is going to negative feedback and is shutting down its own production because you're getting from outside sources. So that is happening, I think is already true for that one. And so I always want to give them more than what your body is producing. So I usually, the dose that I give is about 100 milligrams, which is about 4 sprays.
I
Okay.
have a question, but
I have you have a question, or
I do.
go?
I have a technical question, which
My eyes are gonna glaze over here, I can tell.
no, I don't think. Well, I always have a hard time. Help me draw the line between antioxidant stress and inflammation.
Oof. Okay.
Like, because we say inflammation's a lot of what's behind a lot of disease, but also, as you talked about, it's all the oxidative stress. So how do we?
What comes first?
Is it a continuum?
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand. I'm not drawing in my brain. I'm not drawing the line. So do you have a line to draw for us?
So I will. So 2023, Western University School of Medicine over here in Pomona, California, did a clinical trial. They did a human trial with our product. It was a 30-patient trial. It was a 3-day trial. 3 days, you cannot expect much in 3 days with a nutraceutical product like this. So, but I just said, just do the three-day trial. I really want to see the absorption is there or not. But the doctor that was doing the trial was also an immunologist. And he goes, you know what? If I'm going to do the 3-day trial, and if you say that the glutathione gets absorbed intracellularly within the first 15 minutes or so, I should see a response pretty fast. And so what he did was he applied the glutathione, and then he measured the blood draw, see the levels went up in the RBC. So that part of the study was done. But then he started checking the markers on melanoaldehydes, MDA levels. That actually dropped in the first 4 hours after applying glutathione. So they said, okay, great. So this is also working. So it's reducing oxidative stress down. He went one step further, and what he did was draw the blood, infected the blood with mycobacterium infection, and was measuring all the cytokines, the IL-2, the IL-12, TNF alpha, interferon gammas, because they wanted to see is there an immune response to this thing, because that's where the inflammation comes in, right? From infections.
Sure.
And so when they did the infections, what they found out was all the immune markers in the glutathione groups went up. It went up to the point that within 1 hour post-infection, the bacterial load went down. In the treatment group, the placebo group, it didn't matter; it just kept on going up, right? In the treatment group, the actual load went down, and so the question you asked me is that, hey, what comes first, oxidative stress and inflammation? I think the first thing that comes first is oxidative stress, and if you can nip the oxidative stress in the bud, the inflammation comes down as well.
Just because your cells can handle all the other stuff.
All the other stuff, yeah, because all you're doing is you're aiding the body to detoxify, to process better, to remove all the free radicals, because a lot of the free radicals are binding to those receptors and you're not allowing the body to respond properly. So if you remove all those free radicals, the body responds better, it can bring the inflammation down pretty fast. It's not an anti-inflammatory drug itself, it's a secondary response that the body's experiencing, but the primary is reducing the oxidative stress down and reducing free radicals.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. I learned something new. I like it.
Okay, so you have a product. I take this, by the way. We met at one of the mastermind conferences, and I was like, I love this product. So I keep this on my desk, and I take it Monday through Friday because I sit at my desk Monday through Friday, and we apply it to the inner arm. But the first question I have is, how do you say it?
Glutaril?
Glutaril? Okay.
So
I was calling it glutaril, and I'm like, I
glutaril is okay.
Right.
So here's the thing, right? If you tell a pharmacist to name a product, he's going to give a chemical name to it.
Okay. So glutaril, and when we met at the conference, you said put it, 4 sprays on your inner arm.
And rub it in.
Okay, but like, does it have to be your inner arm? Could it be your thigh?
No.
Could it be your belly? Like, does it matter where you put it?
So we have done 2 trials. One was arms and one was the belly. The clinical trial that we did at the university hospital we applied on the belly area because they said, hey, this is too little fat. This is too much fat. I told them the fatness has nothing to do with it, but I said, you know what? Indulge me. So the first trial I did was in the arms. Great results. Exact same results happened in the belly. The conclusion is that you can apply any part of your body. You can apply on your face. You can apply on your thighs. You can apply anywhere else. Like my wife, she applies on her face every night before she goes to sleep, and her face is absolutely gorgeous now. She's always beautiful to begin with, but now it's glowing.
Okay.
So you can apply on your face too, literally.
Okay, so you could apply it anywhere.
Anywhere.
And it's 4 pumps twice a day.
4 pumps twice a day is the full dose. It's basically getting your serum, or not a serum, but the RBC glutathione levels to the highest level I can get without getting over the edge. My key is, can I get you over the edge? And I can get you over the edge of going reductive state. And so 4 sprays will never get you there. Now, personally, myself, I would use 12 sprays, 16 sprays twice a day sometimes, especially when I'm traveling. When I'm traveling, my needs are extremely, extremely high. If you have a condition there where you have a high amount of oxidative stress, and of course they work with the physicians, they'll prescribe them at a higher dose as well. But normally, if you're healthy otherwise, or if you've used this product for a while, 4 sprays twice a day is plenty.
So when you're flying,
I throw it in my purse, actually, when I fly. I just flew and threw it in my purse, but then I forgot to take it. So it doesn't work if you don't use it.
I know.
Okay, I have a really drilled in question. This might be for your wife, and you can connect me to her offline if necessary. But if I were to apply it to my face for bed, does it go before or after? Like obviously before the moisturizer, but does it go before any of the glycolic, or does it like, is it the first thing? Is it the second thing? What's the order here?
So first thing, the first thing you do. So by the way, we also have a skincare routine as well. The whole thing, we have a whole skincare routine as well. Uh, the first thing you do is, of course, you clean your face up with soap and whatever cleanser you use. If you're gonna exfoliate, which I don't suggest people exfoliate at all. Okay, and I'll tell you my story because I don't use anything on my face except for my one product, the creams that I use, and I'll tell you my story. This happened about less than 3 days ago, but once you exfoliate and everything is done, we clean the face up. The first product that goes on your face is the glutathione. That's the first product that goes. After that, you can put on anything else you want. You can put your moisturizers. The only thing that I do not recommend is retinols, any retinol products, because vitamin A derivatives are actually toxic to your skin, and glutathione will actually nullify all those products immediately. So it's like you're wasting money. I would not suggest you use it at all with the glutathione products itself. So as long as you use the glutathione serum first and then lather on anything else you want afterwards, you're okay. If you apply it afterwards, it becomes a big mess because you already have oil on your skin, and now you're putting dextrin molecules with the glutathione in there. It's going to get really, really sticky.
Okay. Okay. And so I just want to make sure our listeners understand. Thank you, by the way. I just want to make sure the listeners understand there's lots of ways to take glutathione. It doesn't sound like any of them are harmful. Some of them are more effective in other ways. So because one of the things that was so striking to me was that you showed this piece of paper that showed that the intracellular levels of glutathione got to steady state levels very quickly with the transdermal way of applying it as opposed to the liposomal or the IV.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly right. So I'll show you my story about my skincare, okay? So guys, I don't apply any skincare, okay? I use my own product, the two products that I use on my face. And 3 or 4 days ago, I was at a conference, at a skincare conference, and I was presenting my findings to them, and of course they had this big old case. I said, stick your face in there. Let me see how good how bad your skin is. Of course, they're trying to sell your product, so they're putting, oh, you have clogged pores. I said, yes, I don't use any soap. The only soap I use is a bar soap. Once in a while, some bar soap. I said, yep, I'm a guy. What do you expect me to do? But guess what? On my face there was zero sun damage. I said, oh, do you use sunscreen? I said, I have never used sunscreen in my life. And I golf every weekend. And I said, oh, you have no sun damage on your face. So that's one thing that literally shocked the heck out of me, because I've never tested myself before. And my skin score, it came out to be 74, which they said that these are the people that are usually that they use a lot of products. The ladies that use a lot of products, their skin score is about 70 and above, which is a good one to have it. And so I don't use anything except for this one, the one cream that I made for myself. And recently, about 4 weeks ago, I have this new product that's coming out in the market in the next 3 4 months. So I'm testing the product on myself. So I started using that product also. Is another peptide that's coming out in the marketplace.
And if you need any testers, I'd be happy to assist you. I don't want you to feel like you're, out on a limb and not supported in your endeavors.
I would love to send you. I would love to send you. Absolutely love to send you. No problem whatsoever.
Now, you also wrote a book. Tell us about the book.
Yes.
Like, what are the things that people can learn from reading the book, the Glutathione Revolution?
So this is when I first discovered the glutathione, and when I first found out that, hey, this was going to be too potent for the body, I started collecting data. It took me 10, 12 years to release a product to the marketplace. So until that was going to be released, I started collecting data for my patients, because I was still giving it to the patients. It was still available to the doctor community, not to the public. And so they were using these products in the patients. And over the years, I have learned so much things. So the book is all about the stories of how patients' lives have changed, what kind of people have we treated in the past, and what kind of results that we got, and real testimonials, not testimonials testimonials, but the real story about the people, how it was, how it worked in them. So it's a very feel good way of telling you that, hey, there is absolutely hope. And I have cases from autistic girl that I treated to my uncle who was severe diabetic with A1C that was a 14.1. It came down to 5.4 in less than 6 months. It was just incredible stories like these ones. We had a horse that was on his way out to the pound. Of course, the horses get paid to run a race. Some of the horses, not all of them, right? Some you pay to compete, and some you just pay to fill the gaps in there so that you can't run the race by yourself. You have to have some other horses to run the race. So some of the hares are fillers. Is what they call them, fillers. So this was a filler horse. And of course, she was an old 4-year-old pony, not going to do anything good. She was supposed to come in like in the bottom of the race, and the owner was not ready to put it to the pounds and say, you know what, let me give some glutathione to them so it stays healthy. And the horse won the race. Oh my God! So that the story about flaming flesh is in there. So how it happened? Of course, the owner was banned from giving any of the horses in the future. So it was kind of backfired the owner. But hey, it proved my point. So, anyways, stories about how this thing worked on different people. And the last part in the book is a marketing plot. So please don't fall for it. It says 14-day plan to boost your glutathione levels. It's not a 14-day plan. It's a lifelong plan. Okay. The diet's in there. It's my own personal diet that I have been. It's the same diet I have since 1996. Even today's date, I have the same exact food that's in there is in my refrigerator right now, and that's what I've been doing even today's date. So
what's been in your fridge since not well, hopefully preserved since 1986, but
yeah, it's basically it's a daily salad. It's nothing crazy, okay? There's no magic, okay? There's nothing magic about this thing. It's all about getting your basic building blocks in your body. Anything that has high nutrients, my salads, my avocados, my nuts, my raw nuts. I have a date every single day. I just basic protein shakes in the morning. But that's been my meal for the last 28 years now, right? It's the same exact meal for my lunches. The dinners, of course, it's with the family, so I eat what's been on the table. But overall, the diet is something that is going to be a must for everybody. And it's just a diet to improve the glutathione level, but it's not just to improve the glutathione levels. I don't even exercise, right? And my muscle mass is great. I don't even exercise. I'm 50 plus years old. Energy is up the wazoo. I don't exercise at all. But at the same time, last year, my son comes to me and said, hey, I want to climb the Glacier Mountain in California. I said, I don't hike. I said, oh, can you give me a company? It's a 28-mile hike at 14,000, 15,000 feet above sea levels. And there were only 3 or 4 people who completed it. I was one of the 4. So, and I'm able to do all those things with my family and enjoy life. And yet, if you look at my physique, it's not like I don't have a six-pack. I don't exercise at all. And so diet is by far the most important thing so we can get the diet. And you know what? That's my story. And you can support an author by buying the book for $20. It's just, it's nothing there to support it. I know you wrote a book. I have your book as well that I read the book. I think it's The Dirty Girl, I believe so, right? I have your book too.
Where is it?
I got it from, oh, there you go. It's behind you. I got that book from A4M that you were signing. You were signing right next to me. And you didn't even notice who I was at that time, but it was 2-3 years ago. You were signing the book and I was right next to you. But anyways,
I remember you. I was a little crazy, but I remember you.
But you were so busy that day. You were just signing books like crazy that day. So I didn't even think you were noticing anything around, but you did notice. So that's a good thing. So for the audience, you support an author. It's not going to make me rich ever in my life. I can guarantee you that part. The amount of money I've spent on researching the product is nothing compared to what the money I'm charging for the book. So yeah, help support an author. That's all we can ask.
Awesome. Is there anything we didn't ask you that we should ask you?
I always share a story about one person. And the reason I share the story is because I want people to see that it doesn't matter how old you are, you have a chance to make your body healthy. And if you don't mind, I would like to share a story about my father. At the age of 78, he had diabetes for 30 plus years, arthritis for 30 plus years, blood pressure issues, libido on the heavier side. His diet was not properly controlled. He was good, but it's not good enough. And he goes that, hey, my thing is that I live to eat and not eat to live, right? And that was his motto. I said, okay, Dad, whatever. And God gave him some reality check, and he got an infarction. Mild chest pains. He goes to see a doctor. I said, oh, well, let's schedule an angiograph. We don't know if there was no heart attack. Went for an angiogram. It was 3 days later. He went for to scope it out, and it was 100% blocked. 100% blocked. And the doctor goes, whoa, how the hell did you survive? You should have been dead. And so they put the stent in there. And he has no cholesterol issues whatsoever. So they put a stent in there, stayed in the hospital for one night, and is about to release him with a whole slew of medications. And I said, Dad, what are you going to do? I said, I don't take medications. I said, you can take blood thinners because you put a stent in there, so you can take a blood thinner for at least 3 months. But anything else, I don't want it. So he did not take any statin drugs, nothing else. He was already taking testosterone before that. He was taking his vitamins before that. About that time, we had the glutathione already discovered, and we had on few people. We just kind of dabbling things around, and so he became my patient number one. So patient number one. So I forgot about that. I gave him the glutathione. 2 years later, I was in his house, and he was eating dinner, and he was eating anything and everything, sugars and carbs, and what the heck? I said, Dad, what are you doing? We should not be eating so much sugar. I said, oh no, my sugar levels are fine. It's been fine for about a year and a half now, so I'm all okay now. I said, what? And so I looked at his sugar levels, and the A1C is under 5.4. His sugar hasn't risen. He was doing finger prick test 2 hours after eating, because the issue with him was not the morning sugar, was 2 hours after eating, because his eating habits was just not very good. And so 2 hours after eating, sugar levels were also under control. So he stopped measuring them. I said, what the hell? I said, Dad, what are you doing? I said, no, I'm fine. I said, you know what? Do me one favor. At least, please continue with exercise. He did yoga and a little bit of walking. I said, please make sure you walk 30 minutes per day and do your yoga and things like that. I said, oh, no, that's changed now. And he showed me his app on his phone. And he says, oh, I walk 6 miles per day now. I said, what? 82? You're walking 6 miles a day, every single day? I said, yeah, I got 3 friend groups now because nobody can keep up with me. So I have 3 different groups of people that I walk with now, and they all have the timing. So I started walking, and people just joined me. I said, okay. So, and then I said, okay, this is great. I said, I never put 2 and 2 together again. Okay. Then 2 years goes by, and he comes to me and said, you know what? I went to a chiropractor, and he tells me that my knees are really bad, and that's why my hips are going out of shape, and I'm walking really funky. The chiro cannot fix me anymore. I said, okay, so what do we do? He goes, oh, my chiro told me that I have to get knee replacement surgeries done so I can walk properly. I said, okay. So I found an orthopedic surgeon. I said, hey, my dad wants to get a knee replacement done. I said, how old is he? 84. I said, really? I said, okay, well, let's bring him in. Did an x-ray, completely deformed knees. I said, oh my God. I said, how the heck are you walking? I said, he has no knee pains. So he was applying glutathione on the knees directly, so there was no pain over there. So he had no pain whatsoever. So he was walking all this time, but it was deformed. So now he's walking a little funny, right? So I got knee replacement done. At that time, the doctor says that we can do 1 knee at a time. But my father goes, no, I want both the knees, because I heard the story that it's so painful that the people never come back for the second knees. And I don't want to take a chance. I have a very short life to live, and I want to take, I want to maximize fully, right? So he convinced the doctor, both knee replaced at the same time. I said, he cannot travel for 6 months. Make sure to do a physical therapy and all those things, blah, blah, blah. 3.5 months later, he was in India, traveling. Two days after surgery, he was walked out of the hospital with a Superman shirt on him. The nurses were so impressed by his recovery, he's put a Superman shirt on him. I said, wow, what is this guy doing? So the reason I tell this story for you is because at the age of 17, when he first got diagnosed, he was just surviving. He was not living his life, right? after his put a stent in there, his energy started improving better. He started using glutathione. His energy went up really high. All these years, even after the knee surgery was done, we went hiking to Yosemite National Park. We went to Costa Rica for a 10-day on an adventure trip. We went to the Big Island, Hawaii, and did all kinds of trips over there, walking, hiking, all kinds of things. He traveled every single year to India and Africa because he had places both in both countries. And so he was traveling the world every single year. He had a renewed interest in life, and he was going to maximize every single thing. Last year, he was also in India again, traveling the world. He's about to come back to the United States. It was February last year, and it was coming to back. And you know what? He's single. My mom passed away 25 plus years ago, so he was single. So he does everything by himself. He travels the world by himself. He eats some street food over there. Those third world countries have those salmonella poisoning, so he got some diarrhea from it, some dehydration. We called him and said, "Dad, don't eat street foods. Just go to proper restaurants. You got plenty of money. What are you worried about, right?" I said, "Oh, it just tastes so good." So I just ate some food. So don't worry about it. I'll be fine, right? Sure enough, he got dehydrated, and about 2 days later, he just boom, smacks fall down in the shower and broke his skull. No pain whatsoever. I get a call from the hospital. Hey, Dad's fallen down. The dad's, no, give me the phone, FaceTime me. I says, don't worry about it. I'm fine. See, I look good. He was coherent, cognizant. Every single thing was fine. Of course, I didn't like that answer. I said, "Oh, the neurologist will come over here and let me know how I'm doing right now. So don't worry about it." I know the head of NFL, neurosurgeon. So I called him up. I said, "Hey, my dad just fell down in India, and he just had head trauma, and I'm not sure what's going to happen." I said, "Is he cognizant, coherent, memory loss, eye contact?" I said, "Everything is good. I just FaceTime him right now." I said, "Okay, I'm going to go in a hyperbaric chamber for 2 hours, so I'll call you afterwards." So he called me 2 hours later. It wasn't him calling me. He already arranged, while he was in the chamber, he already arranged some neurosurgeon to go see him in India to see my dad. I get a call from the neurosurgeons 2 hours later and said, "Hey, I'm here with your dad. I just saw him right now. He's absolutely cognizant. Everything is great. I can't believe he's so good. He doesn't look like nothing's ever happened to him, but there is some internal bleeding going on. And so hopefully if he can make it for the next 3 or 4 days, he should be okay to travel back to the United States." All these years, he was just living his life. And one thing happened, it was kind of down for one day. It was not good. That was on him. So he heard the surgeon. He calls me up again, calls me and my brother and the whole family. Starts talking to everybody. Said, "I'll be fine. Don't worry. You don't have to come see me. I'll be okay. I'll come see you next week." It was getting too late. Puts the phone down because it's time to go to sleep. And that was it. He never wakes up again. I tell this story for 2 reasons. One, if you're in the age group of 78 and above, and if you think you have nothing left to live for, think again. Because my dad, at this age of 78, when he was thought that this is all he had, he went for double knee replacements. He literally traveled the whole world. After that, he had been to Australia, New Zealand. He went to the Glacier Mountains. He went to Alaska for a trip as well. He did everything he wanted to do every single year. The last 10 years, he had at least 10 different vacations and at least 15 different trips across the globe. So
Amazing.
I want people to live. I want people to conquer the world, fulfill your dreams. I'm here to provide some products to you, but that's about it. But it's not about the cost of the product. It's what it's allowing you to do in life is what is more important to me. And so I share the story with everybody because even today's date, I don't feel like he's gone, because the last memory I have was him talking to me and FaceTiming me that I'm completely okay. So
amazing.
Anyways.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to share the story. I appreciate that.
It's amazing. And thank you.
Yeah.
Where can people find find you? Where can people find more?
So we can go to Auro Wellness, aurowellness.com. You can buy off the website, but more importantly, we only allow physicians to allow them to stock it, because I want them to help the patients as well, so they can go to physicians' offices and pick up from there as well, or they can come to the website.
Great. We'll make sure that goes in the show notes.
And obviously we carry the.
Yeah, we carry it because I use it. We love it. And you're going to start
Thank
using
you.
it too.
I'm going to start using it.
He was
See?
just about to say that actually.
I was just about to say that. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to close out the podcast.
Thank you again.
Because
Julie.
we're
Thank
running
you for
into
sharing your
short on
heart
time. But yeah,
addition to the product.
yeah. Like your
Thank
dad
you.
sounds really special. So thank you for being here for this episode of the Feel Freaking Amazing podcast and joining us and sharing about Glutaril. And for the listeners, hope this was valuable for you. And thanks for joining us for another episode. So thanks for being here.
Thank you.